You've been lied to. Today we're debunking 10 skateboarding myths that you need to know. Make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss a video from us. Let's get right to it. Myth number 1, you're too old to skate. And it's just not true. I know a lot of guys and girls in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s learning how to skateboard and loving it. There are a lot of safe things that you can practice, and there's a lot of fun to be had without doing super big tricks. Skateboarding is not all about flying down stair sets and going a billion miles per hour. One of the best things to practice as an older skater is carving around the bottom of the bowl. It's a very simple skill to practice, but the skill ceiling is so high because as you start gaining speed, you can start maneuvering your carves differently and pumping harder. But it's a low barrier to entry because you can just cruise around the bottom of the bowl, but you get something out of it because you get to go back and forth and round and round. Make sure you wear the right gear, throw on the right knee pads, elbow pads, butt pads, wrist guards, helmets. Gear is always better, especially for newer skaters. And make sure that you're not listening to outside input. For the older skaters, I know there's a lot of pressure from your peers or your coworkers saying, oh, you're crazy, you're too old to skate, I would never do that. Just get it out of your head. If you love it, go do it. If you're interested and you want to get out and this is your way to exercise, spend some extra time with your family, or just do something that you love, all the power to you. Myth number 2. Tricks are the metric for improvement. The reason this is a myth is because there is a lot of room to improve on your skateboard without doing tricks. Think about it. The way you turn, how comfortable you feel on your board, the strength you have in your push, your ability to pump, even the simple yet complex skill of keeping your eyes up as you skate through a skate park, dodging children on scooters and other adults who are learning. You have to be able to push and maneuver and adjust your foot position without looking at your board or being freaked out about how fast you're going. Things like this are great markers for progression. They're just a little bit more difficult to explain or for you at home to treat them as real. You get home from a session where you felt pretty good, but you didn't land that trick you were trying to. Did you really progress? And I say, yes, you did, definitely. We have to treat every little win that we get as real and as a win. I'm all about having small wins every single day that take you towards your goals. Nobody wants to get burned out. A great way to guarantee that you won't progress is just trying tricks that are above your skill level and getting frustrated. So you have to admit to yourself that even when you're just skating, maybe if it's just for fun, or maybe it's to work on a soft skill, like more control in your front foot while you're riding, that is progression, and you should treat it like it is. Myth number 3, switch skating is only for advanced skaters. And this is just not true. You should practice skating switch early on in your skateboarding journey. It will only help you long term. You can create really low barrier to entry skills that you can practice in your other stance. Whether it's just pushing on flat ground, getting a little bit more stable and consistent with your back foot position, okay? You can dedicate time to skating switch that isn't all about just doing flashy tricks. People think, whoa, if you skate switch, you have to do switch ollies or try your The hardest trick you can do your strong side, skating switch just means you're trying that trick the other way. It doesn't make any sense. Treat yourself as if you were a complete beginner, like it's your first time on a skateboard. That is how you skate switch. Practice moving, practice stopping, turning. Make sure you're looking where you're going and allow yourself to spend months skating a little bit every day in the other stance for it to really sink in and stick. That was switch. Myth number 4. All skateboards are created equal. Not only are there different sizes, widths, lengths, wheelbases, there's also all the differences that come from the height and width of the trucks, the age of the skateboard, the size of the wheels, the type of bearings you have, the stickiness of your grip tape. So let's cover the basics of how to make sure you have a good setup that works for you. As a general rule of thumb, you want your nose to come up to just about your hip bone, maybe a little bit below it. If you're younger, if you're super small, it can come up a little bit past your hip bone, but that's just because it's gonna be hard to find skateboards that are genuinely small enough for you. For width, as a beginner, I think wider is better. As skateboarding matures, boards are getting a bit wider. When I was younger, everyone was on a 7.75 or an 8.0. I remember 8.25s were like huge. I knew guys on 7.5s even. Nowadays, everyone's on 8.38s, 8.5s. I even skated an 8.83 for a while, which is super wide. If you're a little bit older, bigger, taller, newer, wider is just better because you have more room to put your feet on the board. Wider board means you can have wider trucks and you're just a little bit more solid. So make sure you get a board wide enough for you. Make sure that you get trucks that are about the same height as your board. So if you were to stand on it primo, your feet aren't at a huge angle. There's not a huge difference between the rail of your board and the height of your truck. The next thing is your skateboard will change every day. Whenever you do ollies and kickflips and tail scrapes and all these things, you will wear your skateboard out. So a new version of your board will be a lot different than the version you're on right now. Some simple mistake like leaving it outside or letting it get wet can ruin a board in one single day. When your board is working properly, it should have a really nice crisp sound in the pop. You can hear mine rattle a little bit because my pivot cup on my front truck is a little bit loose. And you can just hear that board shaking as it hits the ground. If I were to set up a brand new board, getting ready for something like a competition or something that's really important, I would just make sure everything is fresh and super dialed. I wouldn't worry too much about the speed of your bearings. As long as they spin a reasonable amount when you flick the wheels, you'll be just fine. Make sure you're pumping and pushing pretty hard. I actually would prefer a little bit slower bearings than the super duper fast ones. It's hard to stop. It's hard to predict your speed. You want to make sure you keep your confidence, and sometimes going a little bit slower will help with that. I like medium bushings. I used to be a really tight bushing skater. My trucks were super tight, but that was because I just strictly skated vert. I had a super wide setup. I had a long mega ramp background, so everything just kind of got tighter as I skated more and more. But now that I'm skating more street, a little bit smaller board, doing more feely technical tricks, I actually like the medium to softer bushings. I feel like it's easier to save tricks when you land on it. It's also easier to navigate the skate park. And a hidden benefit, it's just a little bit more fun. You can turn more and cruise around genuinely rather than just bending down and going straight. Myth number 5, you have to slide your front foot when you do an ollie to pick it up into the air. I think this happened pretty naturally because whenever you watch someone do an ollie, you notice that their shoe is sliding on the grip tape. Then after a bunch of ollies, your shoe's all torn up. So then naturally, you'd tell people that, hey man, you just gotta start sliding your front foot. Just slide your front foot left, slide your front foot right, go home, slide your front foot more. It's really just a byproduct of having a good ollie. Your shoe will slide on the grip tape during a good ollie, but it's not what gets the board in the air, and it's not absolutely necessary in terms of if I don't slide my front foot, I can still do an ollie. You will pick your foot up vertically on the grip tape. You're not sliding your foot through the skateboard to pick it up in the air. There is no picking up the board motion with your front foot. Really doesn't make very much sense. I'm not gonna be able to pick the board up from on top of the board with the top of my shoe. Like, just spend a minute and think about that sentence. Sliding your front foot is the byproduct of lifting your front foot in the right spot and letting the grip tape run into it. Your front foot actually moves up and backwards to the top of the ollie, and then will flatten the ollie out at the top. Myth number 6, bailing tricks is bad. Whenever you learn a trick, you will encounter some bails. It's important to do a couple of things to get this part right. Make sure you're bailing in a way that leads you towards making the trick. I look at it like this. A bail is an act of discovery and investigation of a trick safely. A slam is where you try a trick and then you fall and hit the ground and it was all an accident. Bails should lead you towards makes. And bails are good because you have to bail to move towards your new tricks. When you're trying something new like a kickflip, tray flip, grinds, these harder tricks, you're gonna spend hours and hours and hours over weeks or months learning it. And that's hours of bails. Every bail should be a baby step towards your actual trick. It's important to know how to bail safely, so make sure you watch this video where I break it down for you. Myth number 7, kickflips are easy. One of the biggest things that will hold new skaters back is thinking they're not progressing fast enough because they can't do a kickflip. About 45% of our comments are, I can't ollie. The other 45% is, I can't kickflip. Okay. If you're having problems like landing one foot on the ground, or having inconsistent flicks, or not being able to get over the board, you probably have other problems to solve first. Like, you need expert level ollies to have decent kickflips. So if you're skipping steps because you think progression goes from ollie straight to kickflip, you're doing yourself a disservice. There's a lot of room in between those two things. Let me give you an example. If you want to do an ollie manual and roll your front foot over and push your front foot up against the board and then do an ollie out of your manual, you'll be able to kickflip. Like, don't worry about it. There are lots of soft skills and hard skills that will come between your first ollie and your first kickflip. So really lean into that. Give yourself a lot of time and patience as you move towards your kickflips. Look, even if you've only been skating a couple weeks, practice kickflips, whatever. Jump, try to flip it over. But if you're gonna be upset at yourself because you can't just magically do it right away, you need to chill out and make sure you get a more realistic approach to your progress. Kickflips are a pro trick. It's not a beginner trick at all.
I'm still working on it.
And I'm still working on them, so Brock says. So thanks, Brock.
You do. You just bailed, but I'm gonna put that in there.
No. Myth number 8. You have to keep your chest up to stay balanced. I don't know who told everyone that proper form means that you're like this, like somehow you're like have the right posture at a tea party or something. You need to be comfortable pointing your chest towards the ground in your squat. This will help everything. Okay, I'm gonna prove to you why it's useful and that it doesn't actually take anything away from you. So, turning front side for a lot of people looks like this, because you feel like you have to lean back to fall front side. First of all, you can just turn front side with your foot position. So, your body position doesn't actually affect the direction that you're turning. You just stand on that side of the board and you turn. So drill that in your head right now. The other thing is, if you lean your chest down, that does not stop you from leaning towards your heel side at all. Like at all, okay? I want you to visualize some tricks that you've seen. Think about a kickflip indie. Chest down, hand on the board, legs up in the air. This is balanced, okay? How are you gonna get to this position if you have to be up here? It just doesn't make sense. Think about a tail slide. Chest down, weight on the back foot, leaning forward, right? If you look at this from the side, it's very apparent that you're leaning into it. There's all sorts of problems that come from losing your hips and letting your hips come forward. One of the gateways to letting your hips come forward is picking up your chest and then losing your balance this way. By keeping your chest down, your hips are gonna sit over your heels a little bit more naturally. So then you have more room for your squat, you have more room for your pop, you can see the board, and it does make progression easier. So when it's time to flip your board, you can see everything and your legs have space to work in front of you. Stop picking your chest up. Please, I'm begging you. Myth number 9. You have to lean back to pick up the front truck. I feel for you guys at home watching this because it makes sense. It's crazy that you don't lean back to pick up the nose. What you do instead is keep your weight in a more natural position over the center of your board. Slide your board forward in your stance so you load your back foot a little bit more. And then you just pick up your front leg. There's no shifting that weight backwards over the tail and then pushing on the tail to pick up the front truck. Look, I would break my tail before I pick up the nose by pushing on my back foot. What gets the nose in the air is picking up your front foot. That is it. That is all. That's how it works. As you pick up your front foot, I actually want you to do the opposite of lean back. Lean towards the nose. This will keep you stable over the skateboard and give you a strong foundation to work with as you move forward. This will also guarantee through your progression that you avoid the unnecessary loop out bail where your board flies forward and you fall back and end up on the ground. The more you can stay forward into your tricks, the safer and better off you'll be. That's some nice forward thinking for you. Myth number 10. Skateboarding isn't a sport, because it is. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a video from us. I'll see you at the next one. Click on these videos right here, whichever one you want. YouTube does the algorithm for you, so you don't really have to do this one. Do this one.